Hey, what is up, everybody? This is the Great Puckettini, and I'm coming at you today with a new type of video. I want to apologize. I've been absent the last couple days. School's starting up, and we're getting ready to start the new school year, and I'm teaching right now, so I've been pretty busy. But anyway, last night I was watching Coach Mateos is here. His interview last night about his offensive line, and I've been wondering too, where are they going to fit all these guys in there, where are they going to go, what positions they're going to be in, and how are they looking. And I thought Coach Mateos dropped a lot of bombs. He was dropping names and kind of telling what he's seeing. And I thought there was a lot of great info there that a lot of y'all may be very interested in. I know I was for sure. So this is the Arkansas offensive line coach, Eric Mateos. There's his picture. And this is his fall camp day 6 recap. This is just dealing with offensive line, a little bit of defensive line too, but not much, mostly offensive line. So let's have a look and see what he said here. And the reporters are asking questions, and I tried to just make this into a PowerPoint as I watched it. It was very interesting. But anyways, hopefully I'll kind of shorten it up for you. Now, first he talked about these initial offensive line pairings. Coach Pittman had talked about that in one of his in the opening day press conference. He talked about how Kobe Branham and Shaq, they've been trying to keep those two together. And then, so when they play, Branham, I believe, would be that right guard, and then Shaq would be the right tackle, and then Blackstock, he would come in. They would try to keep them two together, Blackstock being the right guard, and then Harris being the right tackle. And Mateo said they did that early for continuity for the first 3 days. See the second bulletin. He kept those duos together just to help them build chemistry and just kind of where they're just learning one thing and when you work with the same guy, you get a little chemistry together. But he said they're not doing that anymore. He said after the 3 days and from day 4 on, they've been using full rotations and mixing players and trying to build versatility. So, the first 3 days, he was just trying to, let them work with the same person. It's easy. It's less to learn. Then after they got that done, now he's starting to mix and match them a lot there. So he talked about that. I thought it was very interesting. Then he talked about Kobe Branham. And a lot of times these are the reporters asking him, so he's just answering questions. But he's had a lot to say about Kobe here, about his development. He was injured. He did play in the bowl game, but he was hurt and missed some time in the summer. But he's able to run and stay in shape, he said. But here's what he said. He said he's very physical. At 6'5", 330 pounds, he's aggressive. He has good stature, of which he does. That's prototype size there. His mental, he has a strong football IQ. He handles 70-plus offensive line plays and says he knows them, knows what to do. That's a lot of plays to remember. Of course, there's always stuff they need to work on. He said he needs some technique refinement and some added strength because that's what he missed out during the summer when he was injured. He was able to run and stay. His conditioning was good, but his strength is a little lower than what it normally is. And he said, these young players need both physical and mental maturity before they're ready to play in the SEC. And he said Kobe checks both those boxes. He's physical, he has the mental maturity, and that's what's allowing him to compete for a starting role. And I think looks like at right guard there is where he's looking to come in and play. And he is a redshirt freshman. He had redshirt last year. He didn't play over the 4 games, even though he did play and start in the bowl game. But he is a redshirt freshman, so there's a lot of time left. And but he's doing good. Coach Mateos really had high praise for him. All right, and then he moved on, talked about the left side strength, about how these guys are playing really well, the left tackle and left guard. And for that don't know, it's Corey Robinson at left tackle and Fernando Carmona there at left guard. They're moving him from left tackle to left guard. And he talked about how they had veteran savvy and they had good pre-snap recognition. And that helps a lot. If you kind of know what's going on before, you can plan and be ready to how you're going to attack it. He said they do a very good job of that. Now, this is my added stuff. They both have prototype size and speed for the NFL at their positions. Robinson at left tackle, he's 6'5", 311, runs a 5'2", 440. And Coach Mateos, too, talked about they wanted to find, the best left tackle. They wanted to find the best pass blocker they could get. He said they targeted Corey Robinson. He was their number 1 guy, and they got him. His run blocking probably needs a little bit of work, but he said the main thing he was looking for was pass blocking and experience, and he was the highest rated pass blocker there was at 91%, which is really good. I don't know. I look at the PFF a lot, and I don't know if I've ever seen numbers that high before. Really, I'm sure there are, but the guys that I've looked at have not been that high. So that's very high. Very good pass blocker last season, and he said they could work on the run blocking because they had the highest run blocking efficiency last season of any team in the SEC, but really struggled protecting Taylor Green. He said that was the main goal. And you look at Fernando Carmona at left guard. They moved him inside at 6'5", 325. He runs a 5'1", 440, and that is prototype size and speed for a guard in the NFL. So those two guys are really good. They should be pillars of strength over their force. Should keep Taylor clean on the left side, his backside. Mateos went on to say that they excel in gap schemes, in the inside zone run game, and in the pin and pull, where you block down and somebody pulls around. So he says they excel in all those. There's no scheme limitations. The very bottom bullet there, he says they're very versatile and they can run any scheme. So that's very important. Makes me very happy to hear that those two appear to be cemented in and they're playing really well. So that's great. That's great news. All right, now, in facing the defensive line, hear about the defensive line. He talked about, defensive line, he thinks our defensive tackles are a pretty strong group because he said they've been giving us fits, You have two gap stoppers like Big Ian Gerfard and Big Cam Ball. I mean, those are two big old huge guys in there. He said they're tough to move them. And what a two gap stopper means, they're head up on that guard. They're a two-tech head up on that guard or head up on the center, and they're hammering him. And they're playing like, they can play two gaps. They can play the left gap, which would be, if you're head up on the guard, that'd be the A gap. And then if you're the right gap, would be the B gap. It goes A, B, C, D, and coming from the center out. And he said those two are really tough two gap players. That's your defensive tackle, where your head up. They have to play both inside gaps there. He said they're both very tough. Then you have penetrators like David O'Kee and Danny Saleh, who I thought when coming out in junior college, I did a video on him, and I said, man, this guy's going to be a good one, and he is. It took him a little while to get used to that Division I, but they say he's really playing well, and I knew he would. He's prototype size, and I just don't know his 40 time, but boy, watching him on film, he's quick. Big sucker that can get upfield, and him and David O'Kee, Coach Mateos called them out and said they're playing really well. And, Campbell and O'Kee are both prototype NFL players based on their size and speed. So we got a lot of good talent in there, a lot of good players that they've recruited and brought in. And he said, it's you have to adapt your blocking schemes to fit your opponent's style. So, like if you're, and he said they're not doing that right now, but they kind of know if you see Campbell and Ian in there, they're going to be two gappers. They're not going to be trying to rush upfield too much. They're trying to hit and control you. And so anyway, you have to adapt your blocking, and you have to do that each week. You have to adapt how you're going. This week you're going to run more counter, more traps. This next week you can run power at guys, the smaller guys. So you adapt. All right, next up we're talking about Shaq McCroy. Shaq's transformation. And Shaq here, big old guy, we got him from Oregon. He transferred in. He's 6'8", 344, and that's down 18 pounds since the spring, which is very good. And Coach Mateos says he has improved speed, maturity, and leadership. Said he's really working hard, wanting to be the best. And that's the battle right there. I mean, he's got the talent. You just gotta have the drive. All these guys have the talent. They just got to keep after it, keep working. And he's pushing for playing time there at right tackle. They don't have a clear winner there yet. Got several guys fighting over it. We talked about Harris and who did I just say there? I can't remember now. We got Harris, and then Shaq is fighting for it there. So and Bubba Craig, Dummerville, Marcus Dummerville, they're Prudhomme. They're all kind of fighting that tackle spot. So Shaq's doing a good job. All right, now next talked about versatility training, and he pointed out, players like Marcus Dummerville are practicing at multiple spots, and Dummerville he's prototype size and speed at 6'5", 306, 5'2", 240. Great athlete in there. He can play guard, tackle, and he's working at multiple spots. I know Marion Harris as a played guard and tackle. So they have several guys there that they're cross training. Sometimes they call it that, and that's very good. Mateos said that he sees we could play 7 to 8 offensive linemen in a game and be okay. He thinks he has 7 or 8 that are pretty good, and that's, coming from last year, we struggled quite a bit. That's good news for sure, because we want to keep Taylor Green healthy, and that's great news. And of course, they're preparing for in-season position changes. Might have to move guys around. You always want to find your 5 best players and go with them. So sounds good there for sure. Now, there is a right guard battle. There's a battle everywhere, except for the sounds like left guard and left tackle, pretty cemented in, and the other 3 positions are they're battling. So Keyshawn Blackstock, Emarion Harris, and Kobe Branham are all competing for that right guard spot. Coach Mateos said there's no front runner right now, but all 3 of them are prototype size. Now, Keyshawn Blackstock has a size and speed. I could not find 40 time. Harris is like a 5'4" 40. He's a little bit slower, but anyway, they all have the great size. Keyshawn has the size and speed. So they're all 3 really good players. There's recruited very good ones there, and just need one of them to step up. This might be where you have 2 or 3 guys play at that right guard position. He talked about it. If somebody's cooking, doing good, leave them in there a little bit. If they need a break, we got somebody we can throw in there, and just kind of play it based on how they feel. And he said they've all had standout and frustrating moments. So, that happens, man, when you're coaching. Each day is a new day, and you just go with it. Who's cooking today? And that person will get more of the playing time, And but it's good to have choices. We have 3 guys there, like I say, that have great size, and just whoever's cooking will get the playing time there. So that's good news again, that we've got guys that can come in and compete. All right, they talked about center. We went out and signed Caden Kittler from Central Florida. But he talks about Kittler and Cash Courtney and Brooks Edmondson are locked in a battle there at center. Kittler has prototype size and speed. Courtney has the prototype size, and Edmondson has the prototype size and speed. So once again, got 3 really good athletes in there. He talked about Caden Kittler being experienced in high-pressure situations. He played at UCF, and that's very important. He talked about how you have to have strong leadership at center. He said last year at center, maybe they were supposed to call their blocks to everybody's supposed to step to the left, and because they had a blitzer coming or something, and he said it didn't get called. They missed it. He said that happened a lot. So he said it's very important. First, he'll get a left tackle, Corey Robinson, and then next at center, he wanted somebody that was in high-pressure situations, that was an alpha male, that could go out there and make the calls. And he says Taylor Green helps a lot with that too. But he said Kittler can do that. And he thinks all 3 of these, he said, could lead our offensive linemen to an SEC win. That's a huge statement there. So if something happens to Kittler, you got Courtney and Edmondson there. And he says that could come in and could play good enough to win in the SEC. And he talked about in center is extremely important. They set the offensive line, tell them which way they're going to block. He makes the calls. And he said last year they just had a lot of problems there. And this year they've been a lot better at that. And that is super good news too, because it looks like some of the offensive line mess up, but it's not them. They did the call that they were told, and if the center messed it up, then that makes them look bad. But Mateos said they're a lot better at that this year so far. So that is wonderful, wonderful news. They talked about his freshman class and really praised them. He said they have toughness, they have football IQ, and they have passion to work hard. He said they're all physically mature, and he said this is probably or maybe the deepest freshman offensive line group he's ever had. And he pointed out, Cash Courtney, L.J. Prudhomme, and then Blake Cherry as being 3 of the strongest, maybe the best freshman group he's had, So that's some big-time praise right there for true freshmen coming in. And so, and then with the group he's got coming in 2026, man, I'm telling you, the future's bright. This coaching staff's doing a great job bringing in players, and they got a good group 26 coming. I got all videos on all of them. You can look them up and see what we got coming. And boy, so really excited to hear that. And these guys are going to be battling for starting positions, and also playing for time, starting positions, and for playing time. Yeah, so that's really good news. And he talked also about building for the future, like talked about Bubba Craig, and said they intentionally recruited him for long-term depth. May not be ready to come in and play right now, these junior college guys, but he looked at him for down the line. And he's coming from Hutchinson Community College, kind of like Danny Saleh did. And, it takes him a little bit of time coming from junior college to Division I SEC. And so he said, he recruited him intentionally to have a long-term depth. He'll be here for several years, and he can kind of get better as he's here. I can't think of the name I'm looking for, but they can make him a better player. They can what's the word I'm looking for? I can't spit it out, but wanting to want him to work with him, get him a little bit better, and long-term depth. And he just said his young tackles can develop behind these veteran tackles, and that's what he's looking for, where you have a pipeline. You have the veterans are starting, and then you have young guys behind them ready to step in, and that's great. That's the way you build it. That's how you get better. That's why we got to keep these coaches. We got to keep Mateos, got to keep Pittman in there, and let them do this and get it going. And they're doing a good job. I'm telling you, bringing a lot of good players. And guys, that's about all I got. I didn't want to make it super long. I was hoping to where you could watch this and be a little bit quicker, but it was a great interview, and a lot of questions were answered for me, and you get to see what Mateos is thinking. And the offensive line looks to be in really good shape right now. Of course, they're not perfect. They still got a lot of work to do, a lot of practicing. But, man, it's really good news compared to last year. Sounds really good. And after I listened to that, I said, man, I got to make a video on that and talk about it. So thanks so much for watching and spending time with me. I appreciate it so much. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up. And then please subscribe if you're not. That way you get notifications anytime I post a video. I try to do informational stuff where you can learn about our players and all this good stuff. I'm going to do some more videos on some of maybe some basketball stuff here, but anyway, some of these basketball recruits, just do a lot of different stuff there. But anyway, please come back soon. Like I said, I've got a lot of videos. I've been making one a day just about all summer. And if you have a question about any of these 2026 guys coming in, I've got videos on every one of them, I believe. And some of these other guys, too. I got videos on some of the other guys that are there right now. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for spending your time with me. And I've got to go back over here to end my video here. And I found a cool picture here. Yeah, there it is. I thought that was really cool when they read it out. I think they do that on like Friday night for a game. I thought that was real cool. And I got to go back here to stop my video. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. And hopefully see you soon. As always, go Hogs.